YouTubers, Brad C here. Today we're going to be talking about some phone skills. I want to teach you how to lower your satellite provider's bill, how to get the best rate on anything out there. And all it takes is a little bit of phone skills. You don't need to be aggressive. You don't need to be really good on a phone. Now, I'm not trying to brag because there's a lot of things I'm really bad at, trust me. But one thing I'm very good at, and that is my phone skills. I used to be a telemarketer, and just to give me a little bit of credit here, there is nobody that can beat me head-to-head on $1 per hour. My average is about $300 an hour in donations. And I can guarantee you, if you want to take me on head-to-heads, you will lose that battle. Now, how do I do this? First of all, I'm going to use some of the phone skills that I'll teach you. But the main thing about a phone is being able to listen and gauge what you need to do, because you may need to twist their arm, you may need to gently pull, you may need to gently push. There's different ways. A lot of people are very one-dimensional on the phone. They either barrel right at you and try to go for the sucker. That's what normally people do, is they try to be real loud and they barrel right at you, and they, of course, they don't take no for an answer. Neither do I. When I was a telemarketer, it's always a rule: 3 no's and a go. So if you're ever wondering, telemarketers call 3 no's before they'll go, at least. So, and me personally, I would keep going 10 times. I'll run you in circles till you finally give something. So now let's move on, because I'm not going to teach you about telemarketing. In fact, I'll probably come out with a video that'll teach you how to deal with telemarketers. So here we go. Now, some phone skills. First of all, the name is the most important thing in this world. Anytime you have a waitress, anytime you have anybody, if you address them by name, it makes them feel really good, because what better word in this English language is there than my name? A lot of people know that already, but apply it. You'll be amazed, especially on a phone, because 2 reasons. One, they know you know their name, and in fact, make sure you write down their name. As soon as they say their name to you, say, "Hey Kathy, this is Brad," and go from there. Say their name. That makes you remember it, and it makes them realize, okay, they just said my name. They might be remembering it. Now, remember, anytime you call, whether you're trying to save money, whatever, you're always going to deal with either 2 people, and that's grunts and managers. No offense to the grunts. I've been a grunt. I've been a manager. Grunts are the lower level, your first entry people. Don't be rude to these people. They're aggravated. They don't like their job. They're doing the best they can. They probably won't help you out a lot, but you got to deal with them. So when you come to them, you write their name down. Be courteous, but as soon as you realize that they're not going to give you what you want, and they won't, most likely. Sometimes you get somebody that, hey, once in a while you can get the grunt to say, "Hey, you got the power. You don't need that manager. Hook me up with a discount." You can try that route, but it doesn't work very often. Now, once you get past the grunt, now you can start using your tactics. Once you get past the grunt, you go to a manager. Make sure as soon as you talk to the manager, say, "I talked to Kathy. Here's what she said. Here's what I want." And a lot of times when the manager comes on, they'll immediately try to fluff you up. "Oh, I see your name is Brad. I've got an uncle that's named Brad." They're smart. Managers are going to be smarter than the grunts. No offense to the grunts, and they're going to be trying harder to please you. Grunts don't want to please you. Managers want to please you. Okay, so let's just say I get to the manager and I'm going nowhere. Now, you have 2 choices in a lot of situations. You can hang up, call back, start again at the bottom, work up. Remember, whatever sales it is, somebody probably has more or less quotas to meet. They're going to be more eager to give you deals or discounts. A lot of times, like your satellite provider, you call them. I don't necessarily have to go to a manager. I just go to their sales department or their promotions or whatever. They'll hook me up with something, and if they won't, I just hang up the phone, call back again. I get another person, and you'll be surprised. That person will hook me up with unbelievable loyal customer discounts. So remember, don't waste too much time when you realize you're not getting anywhere with that person. Either go up the chain to another manager. If it's a complaint, you're more likely to get satisfaction going up the chain. If you're looking for a discount, hook me up with something, that the grunt or the first level manager should do. Something I highly suggest you get for your phone is an app that will record your phone calls. Now this is just a little, it's actually a Bluetooth that I can use hooked to my cell phone, but just using for demonstration purposes, obviously. But you want a system that records. For me, it's Android Record, and you have to play around with the one that works best for your phone. But you want something that records your phone calls, because when you call these people, whether you're voicing a complaint or asking for a discount or whatever it is, you want to make sure you've got what they promised you, or you've got, if they were rude to you, now you've got them. And a little trick I'll teach you, all these places, they know their phones calls are being recorded for quality purposes or whatever, training purposes. Obviously, they're recording it so they can use it against you. They're not recording it so they can use it against them. So, whenever they insult you or whatever, just throw in, you know these calls are recorded. Now, you've announced to that person, and they're going to say, well, yeah, I know they're recorded, or they might say, well, they're only recorded randomly. I'd say, I figure, I'm pretty sure it's being recorded. Remember, you're giving them the suggestion that, yeah, it's being recorded through their process. In reality, you're announcing to them that they're being recorded. Keep that in mind, because in a court of law, as a lot of you know, a recorded phone conversation is not admissible as evidence. It doesn't hold up anywhere unless you tell a person they're being recorded. Once they admit they know they're being recorded, now you got the goods on them. So again, you're not telling them, hey, I've got a thing on my phone that records this, because if you do that, then they're going to clam up. You don't want that. You want them to think, oh yeah, he thinks that this is being recorded. We know we'll lose those tapes. I wonder where they'll turn up. Now, once you get to the point where you need to use that, remember, now you can pull it out with that person and say, look, I hope you understood what I meant. This phone call has been recorded. Your insults to me and the way you've handled me here, the customer service you provided, that's all been recorded. Now I'm going to take this up the chain of command until I get to the corporate level. And I'm going to find someone that will give me satisfaction. And I guarantee you, things are going to start changing, because they're going to start sending you vouchers, they're going to start giving you discounts, they're going to agree with you, whatever. Because now they realize that person has the goods on me. This thing's been recorded by them. Okay, I'm going to start off pointing out some obvious things. A loyal customer, a voucher. These are all keywords you want to plant in their head. Do you have anything for being a loyal customer? Where you say, I've been a loyal customer for several years. Surely there's something you can do for me. Or, is there possibly a voucher, a good customer voucher, loyal customer voucher? I mean, these are all terminology words that will get the wheels turning. You don't have to say, hey, I want you, can you hook me up with a voucher? You do what you want. But I'm just saying, use these keywords to get the ball rolling. Okay, let's talk about a name. Make sure you get their name. If for some reason you don't understand their name, it's not rude to say, I'm sorry, what was your name again? Or, may I ask what your name was again, please? Get their name. And if they don't want to give you their name, which some people won't, they'll say, well, I'm not comfortable giving my name over the phone. Well, that's okay. Do you have a caller ID? Because I'm being nice here, but there are two things that every caller on a phone has to give you. Either their first name. Now they can go with their first name or their middle name, but it has to be their real name. A telemarketer or a caller of any sort, under federal law, as far as I know, don't quote me on that, but as far as I know, they have to give you their name or a customer, or I should say caller ID number that will identify them. So if they try to say that they're not comfortable with that, that's a load of baloney. Okay, good notes are key. The entire time you're talking, it's not a big deal to be writing down some notes. Of course, their names. Each caller you talk to, write down their name. That way, when you talk to the third manager, you can say, "No, I talked to Pam. Then she transferred me to Kathy." And you could even say, transfer to her manager, Kathy, and then Kathy transferred me to Mark. And you could even go in more detail. Well, Kathy told me this, and then when I talked to Pam, she was a little bit nicer, and she offered me this, but what I really want is this. Or what this does, it implants in that person, wow, this guy he's writing down, or he's remembering people's names. He's going to remember my name when he talks to my boss, and he's going to be saying what I said. So remember that. Get their name, and for goodness sakes, take notes. Now, back to the notes. Not just names, write down everything you can. You've got a phone. If you even want to put a little timer down there where you can easily click, start the timer. As soon as, and anytime someone says, "Let me put you on hold," always say the same thing. "Oh, no problem at all. I've plenty of time." You never want them to think, well, maybe they'll just give up and hang up. No. In fact, sometimes I'll say, "Oh, I got all day. I got nothing to do. Just sitting around." Or I might say, "It's all right. Hey, I got you on speakerphone. Let's play a game here. I'm ready whenever the manager is." Whatever. Now, back to the notes. I rambled. Okay, back to setting a timer. Sorry, I can ramble sometimes. You set your timer. As soon as the caller says, "Could you hold, please?" "Hey, no problem, ma'am. I've got plenty of time," or whatever. Now, start the timer. Now you're on hold for however much time. Let's say it's 20 minutes. Then when you talk to the manager, say, "Yes, I talked to Kathy. She had me on hold for about 20 minutes, according to my timer here, and this is what she offered me, and I would appreciate it if I wouldn't be on any more of a long wait like that," or something like that. Keep time. Record how much time and as we work our way up the chain, you've got all these notes taken about the time, and it's even recorded on your phone how long the call's been. This is all information you might be able to use at the higher levels. Okay, this is a little tactic I'm going to call give and take. A lot of times when you call up, you might not be able to get what you want. For example, let's say you had a cell phone and there was a data plan that was $15, $20 a month. Let's just say $20 a month. You call them up and you say, "Look, I'd like to stay with you guys, I really would, but $20 data plan, it's just too much. Is there any way you can lower that?" Now, you might be able to go all the way up the chain of command and never get them to cut that, because there's no way for them to lower that data plan. But if you find the right manager, he or she may suggest a give and take process. If they don't, you can always try to slide one in yourself. For example, I had one lady tell me, "No, Mr. C, we can't do anything with the data plan. My hands are tied. I literally couldn't if I wanted to. But what I can do is I see here where you have this texting plan X. I will actually set you up with a $15 less texting plan, same texting plan, and the other stays the same." So what I'm saying is, what they can't give me here, I'll take over here. You can't give me a discount? That's okay. Maybe for being a loyal customer, you could send me a voucher. Remember, you may not be able to get what you want. Don't have tunnel vision on what you want. I'm not saying don't be a bulldog, because I am. I will not give up until I get pretty much what I want or close to it. But remember, you've got to key in on the fact when they are literally at the point where they cannot help you in that area. Look for other areas, because there's got to be something. That's another thing I say to them. I say, "Hey, there's got to be something you can do. If you can't help me here, there's got to be some other part, customer voucher, a discount here or there, whatever. What can you give me?" Okay, I'm going to give you a little strategy that I use, and it might be something you can use. I'm a YouTube product reviewer. I'm an eBay power seller. These are powerful tools, and I am both of those. For anybody that ships, like a shipping company, When I tell them that I am an eBay power seller, like for example, I had a next day company that's supposed to ship my product next day, and they were trying to give me this roundabout stuff about how that was through some site, and I should address the site, not them. I'm like, look, your name is by that next day. You're responsible for that. And I went up 3 levels of managers. Finally, you know what I said to get what I wanted? I said, look, I'm telling you right now, I talked to Kathy, I talked to Mark, I talked to Paul, now I'm talking to you. And this is what the deal is. I am an eBay power seller. Thousands of products get shipped out by me every single week. I'm telling you, I should have started, and I still may do, I may still call corporate and talk to them straight. But what I was doing was I was starting at the bottom of the chain. I wanted to work my way up because I wanted to see what my customers were dealing with this shipping company. And I knew that if I'm having this much trouble getting a $20 voucher, this is completely ridiculous. What do you know? $20 voucher came in the mail about a month later, and a little card that said, I really enjoyed talking with you, Mr. C. People are very scared when you say the word corporate, especially if you act like you're an important person. And I should have started with corporate, but I wanted to start at the bottom and see how things were working here. That's going to scare anybody. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry if I scare people, but hey, when you will get to the point where you're not going to give me what I want and you're being rude, then I'm going to use scare tactics. Okay, this goes without saying, but obviously you want to play one company versus the other. Satellite provider versus satellite provider. Long distance versus long distance. Whatever it is, first of all, start with the company that you don't have and start calling them up and seeing what their absolute best deal is. Check online, call them up, and see what you can do as far as haggling them. You know, tell them what you've got. Can you beat this? Then, now you know exactly what you can get. Now call your own company up and say, look, I really am considering canceling and going with provider X. I don't need to give them any details. Now let them see what they do. They say, well, what can we help you with? You know, maybe we can help you. They start working some deals on me. And if they don't, then I say, it's no problem, transfer me to the cancellation department. And now you get to the cancellation department, I guarantee you they're going to start throwing some deals at you, some discounts, low customer vouchers. You know, we can beat them, we can match them, whatever. Remember, you can get all the way to the point where you talk to that guy and you definitely want to cancel, and then you can just change your mind. Threatening to cancel or transferring to a cancellation department is one of the best things you can do, because that's when you're going to get your rock bottom deals. They're going to try to get you at that point. Now, remember, always let them make offers first, if you can. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. But anytime you're doing any kind of a deal, the person who is selling the merchandise is responsible for giving you a price or a deal to start with. You know, like for example, you walk up to a guy at a flea market and he's selling something. You know, if you say, how much is that? I never name the product. If you name it, it gives value to it. It doesn't matter if it's a pen. I know it's a pen. I say, how much for that? And if he says, well, how much you give me for it? Say, don't know. How much you want for it? Always make them go first, because now you can haggle with them. Because, hey, what if he would have took 50 cents? And I said, yeah, I'll give you $1 for it. And he said, how about $1.25? Yeah, all right, I'll take $1 for it. Why not let him go first? And he can say, $1. I say, I'll probably give you $0.25 for it. Remember, always let them go first. All right, back to the phone skills. That's a little buying tip there. But always let them give their discount or whatever their offer is first. Now, once you get them to offer something, Then you can come back with, well, what I really wanted was this. And if they're here, I'm trying to stretch them out to here, and you may have to meet them in the middle or whatever. Okay, I'm going to teach you a strategy when you're dealing with people on the phone or when you're debating with someone, and that is ask questions. If they ask you a tough question, return it with an even tougher question to them. Learn to play almost a judo style give and take thing with your questions. If you notice Jesus in the Bible, he always answered the Pharisees with a question. In a sense, shouldn't say always, but many times he used questions. The person who asks the question is in control. Very important phone skill, and that is never pay full price for anything. I have very rarely in my entire life ever paid full price for anything. If there is any way for me to beg, bargain, or steal my way into that product, I will do it. Or that service. Your satellite provider, for goodness sakes, don't go along and pay full price. For goodness sakes, every 6 months you should be calling them up and saying, that you deserve a good loyal customer voucher. Don't ask me why, but your satellite providers, they'll give you all they can give you, and then about 6 months later they'll give you some more. But they've got their limitations. Why this 6-month rule comes into play, I don't know. I just know it from experience. But never pay full price for internet, satellite providers, long distance phone carriers. Unless they've got a monopoly on the product, you're insane not to try to get the very best deal. And whatever their regular price is, it doesn't matter. They can hook you up with a discount. They can lower it. They don't want to lose your business. I hate to say this, but they play on the suckers. They play on the people that just sign up for something and then they keep re-signing up. And a lot of times, your satellite providers will give you a 2-year starter package or something where it's real low. Then all of a sudden it starts raising up on you. And you start thinking, oh my goodness, remember, all you got to do is call and cancel. They'll have to come and take that satellite out of there and take the equipment, bring in somebody else. Remember, you're not stuck. You're stuck if you get in a contract. But once your contract is up, you've got power. And also, never think that just because you're into a contract that, well, they've got me for 2 years. No, you call them up and say, look, my contract ends in 6 months. Let's say you don't know. Well, call them first and say, when's my contract end? And they'll say, X amount of time. Hang up and call back the next person, and that way it looks like you know this information. You say, look, I know my contract ends in 6 months. Here's what I want, or when that time comes, I guarantee you I will be going to someone else. Remember, don't just let the fact that they've got you for 2 years make you helpless. You can still get loyal customer discounts all along the way. Every once in a while, just pick up the phone and just get in your mind that, hey, I will not give up until I get a good loyal customer discount. And if you do that with every provider that you have, even if you got $20 every 6 months off of your internet, your long distance, I could go on here. Every service that you have, they should be giving you discounts, and they will give you discounts. Trust me. Never take no for an answer. Never. I am relentless. Now remember, the more time you waste with them, with their managers, it actually costs them money. So they're not looking to be on the phone with you all day. So even though you don't want to be on the phone with them all day, usually, I'm not trying to brag here, and I don't think it's that difficult. I can usually make myself about $100 or maybe even $200 an hour, usually on a phone. So, yeah, it takes some time sometime. You go through 2 or 3 managers, and every once in a while you actually get to somebody that says this is as high as you can go. Well, unless you're talking to the owner of that company or the CEO, then no, this is not as high as I can go. There is always a level of appeals. Remember that. Remember that word. What is the next level of appeals? Because my dad was excellent at this. He always kept his cool. Remember, once you lose your cool, then they can say you're being disrespectful and, either call security if you're in the store, or, if you're on the phone, then they can get away with hanging up on you. But as long as you're calm, relaxed. My dad, he's never lost his temper in his life. I don't have that skill, but my dad would, if he very rarely complained. My dad was not like me. He didn't haggle for anything. In fact, he would usually give them more. If they said that cow's worth $500, I'll give you $500. My dad would say, it's only worth about $350. He's an honest man. Now, back to the haggling. My dad would always say, I would like to talk to your next level of appeals, please. Very nice, very polite. Whether it was a shoe store, whether it was, wherever it was at. Next level of appeals. He'd keep going to the next person, till finally somebody would give in. He was calm, he was relaxed. He let them realize that he was going to stand there all day, and he was going to be very polite and very respectful, but he was going to be getting what was rightfully his. Now, in my dad's case, it was always something that was very rightful. I will admit, in my case, it's something that I just want, and I will not give up until I get it. But let's get back to this. Remember, the next level of appeals. And if they say this is as high as you can go, and you say, no, there is another level of appeals. And I even had one company, they were crazy enough to tell me this. They actually said, the only thing you can do is go on our website, and there's a section on there where you can email the president of our company. And I guess they thought I wouldn't do it. But I went on their site and I emailed them. Well, I got a call back. Not from the president of the company, obviously. But one of his lackeys, And this guy was like, first of all, I want to know who you talked to, what time it was, and because this should have been handled at a lower level. And he was very apologetic. He sent me my $25 voucher, which is all I wanted anyways. And trust me, heads probably rolled on that, because there is always a higher level of appeals. Remember that. I want to talk about something very important. Your low-level grunts, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but your first entry-level people, always be respectful. Do not be disrespectful to these people. They probably aren't making a lot of money. It's a job they don't like doing, so do not be rude to them unless they're completely rude to you. Make note of that, and inform the manager of that. This is a kind of a sneaky little trick, but there's always some funny things you can do. Let's say you get to a really high level manager in the company, and they're being a little bit snide with you, or you feel like they're really not giving you the respect you deserve. You can always throw in something like, Mark, have you ever heard of the show Undercover Boss?